What's up? What's up? Hello, everyone. Hi. Let's see. In this comment. There we go. Boom. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Happy Monday. We're going to wait for Nisha to get here. Hope everyone's having a good Monday. Where's everyone coming from? Drop your cities. I was about to say drop your addresses. Don't do that. We live. Drop your city or state below. Let me know where you're coming from. Yes. Ow. There she is.
Yes, I am jamming. This gold link for anyone who's cultured out there. It's Nisha. Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. You
Let me
sound
turn you
good.
up, actually.
Yes, okay. And you look good. Come on, wave. What's up, baby?
Thank you. These are curls. Thank you.
Okay, girl, that was me. I was about to slick my hair up in a bun before this, but I was like, you know what? They're going to get whatever natural curls they get today, and that's just what I have to suffice.
This is what I've been rocking with all quarantine. You know, it
Yes,
starts out
baby
fresh,
girl.
but then over the week it gets a little raggedy. But you know,
Exactly, which
I'm
is
in
why
the
mine
house.
is. Hello, sis, what's up? So that was exactly me. I was like, well, it definitely can't suffice down. So let's just do a cute little slick back and hope for the best, boo. Okay. Hi, Rhonesha. How are you?
It's been so long.
I know it has been so long. I'm gonna get right into it because I want to share with everyone how I actually met you.
Let me give the people some light.
Yes, there it is. Boom.
They're starting
That's
to get
exactly
dark.
what we need. Yes, it is starting to get dark. So I was like, let me turn on my lights too. Okay. Let me make sure my computer is muted. Boom. Yes, you look so cute. You know what's so funny? When I put up the flyer for this talk back, so many people hit me up and they were like, girl, I thought that was you in the photo. And I was like, oh, what? Okay. And then it took me a minute and I was like, wait a minute. We do kind of look alike. What's up?
We could be
We
sisters.
do. That's, my mom was
I
actually
see it now with the cheeks and
exactly.
the nose and
My
the
mom
eyes.
was the one who messaged me and was like, "Girl, I thought this was you," and that means a lot coming from my mother. So I'm sure she'll be tuning in. Hi, everyone. So let's get started. Thank you so much, Nisha, for joining me. A little bit for anyone who this is your first time coming. My name's Kanique Swinson. I'm the founder of Soul Sister Network. We are a network specifically for women of color dedicated to manifesting, healing, and just connecting. So really what we're built on is manifesting and just reminding women of color, Black women specifically, that you can build your own life and it doesn't have to be this distant idea, right? So when I thought about what kind of things I wanted to offer here, I was like, okay, I want to show examples of Black women or women of color who are around my age who are like doing the dang on thing. And this is our 5th episode. And I knew like, ow, hey. And
Congrats.
I knew, thank you so much. It feels like yesterday that I was having my first one and I was so nervous. But the moment I had the idea, Nisha, you don't know this, but you were literally one of the first people I reached out to. And I was like, I need her here. And that is going to go into why I want you to do your full intro, you know, but I want to tell people how we met. So me and Nisha, we actually met at like a house party. And I was like, okay, you know, let me come here. I didn't know anybody. I was supposed to go with a friend, but then the friend backed out at the last second. But I was like, I'm a real one. So I'm going to go and show my support regardless for this house party, get me a little bit of lick and then go home, right? And I got there and me and you ended up being next to each other on the couch and we got introduced. And I feel like I think I was at that house party for 3 hours and I feel like I talked to you for at least 2 of the 3. And I was like, yeah, we did. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of vibing with her. Like, can we follow each other on Instagram? And after when we were connected, I was like, I mean, I knew you were like that girl, but then I was like, oh, she's like that girl. Like, yeah.
Who introduced us? I don't remember.
I think it was Tori. Honestly,
okay.
I think it was just because, which is the girl's house we were at. And I think she was just walking around because we both came kind of early. So it was only like us and like 15 people in the beginning. So she was like, hey, you should meet this person, blah, 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 blah. And then she introduced us and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then next thing I know, I feel like I was talking about like spirituality and what I wanted to do with my life on the couch. And it's so funny because now I have this platform and I'm creating it and manifesting it as I go. And I was like, this kind of ties back to the conversation that we were having. Yes. So full circle.
And that
L.
also shows, a lot of people don't realize this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you could go to networking events, you could go to
Mm-hmm.
conferences, but honestly, the real connections that I've made in my career have been just organically at
True.
parties,
Yep.
at bars, at,
Mm-hmm.
you know, friends' houses, things
Mm-hmm.
like that. And a lot of the time, I think Issa Rae has gone viral for saying this about networking across versus networking
Absolutely.
up. And a lot of the people that I started with are now in decision-making positions, and they
Mm-hmm.
remember, you know, my hustle, that I've always
Yep.
been about what I'm about. So when opportunities come, they connect me to it, but it was not like I came to them like, oh, can
Mm-hmm.
you plug me into this? It was just organic and natural.
Yep.
And also goes back to manifesting.
Yes. So let's get into it. Nisha, I'll let you introduce yourself, but I just want to preface y'all, like, the resume is long. She's that girl. Like, okay, I just want you guys to know who you're talking to. Forbes 30 under 30. Like, I'm not saying we gotta start there, but I'm just saying, like, that's the level that we're coming with. I just need you guys to, as it Forbes, like as in Forbes. So if you guys are already feeling like what, go ahead and give us some claps down in the bottom. But Nisha, go ahead and introduce yourself, girl.
Well, my name is Rhonesha. I am from Brooklyn, tried and true Brooklyn girl.
Yes.
I am a founder. I'm the founder of a company called Her Agenda, which is a digital media platform bridging the gap between ambition and achievement for millennial women. I've run that now for 12 years. I started it in college, then it turned into a side hustle, then it evolved into my main job in 2015. So now it's been 5 years officially running. And I can officially say that I am COVID proof entrepreneur.
Yes, sis. Come on,
Still
COVID
here
proof.
and still thriving and surviving in this time, which is so difficult. But yeah, I'm a founder of Her Agenda. I'm really all about community, empowering women, and also using the power of storytelling to do that.
Yes, we love to see it. Let's get into it. And I already love that you brought up manifesting. And I'm pretty sure we talked about it at the party, which is what made you stick out to me in my mind. Because not everyone is on like just casually talking about manifesting. Like when
Was it casual?
It was so casual. We started talking about astrology, manifesting. I was like, wow, this girl is my vibe. Like, you know, normally you kind of gotta like, either people are really for manifesting or they're like really anti-manifesting. So you just never know how the conversation is gonna go.
Yeah.
Either people are like, yeah, totally, or
yeah,
girl, it ain't true.
I find that, you know, if you are an intellectual, it can seem almost beneath you. Like, how could you actually believe that that's a path to success? But when you're around people that get it, you kind of feel it. And so I felt that with you, and I just shared it, and then you brought it back, and we were just like going off about it.
It was a vibe. It was a vibe. Like, for real, like I said, y'all, we were talking about this for like 2 hours in the middle of a house party, like music playing, people got drinks, and we're like, yeah, manifesting totally.
I'm just gonna grab my little scarf here because I'm sweating. I'm in the one room in my house with no AC. Because I didn't want it to be loud on the line.
Girl, that's me. You know, I get it. I'm right in Brooklyn with you. I'm in Bed-Stuy, so I turned off my AC too. So honestly, I'm just hoping for the best. It's a hot day here. Y'all.
I mean, I could pretend like I'm not here sweating, or I could just suck it up and just
yes, girl, keep it real. Down yourself. Blot. What is it? It's called blotting, right? Yes. Okay, so let's get into it. So manifesting. Nisha, how did you find out about manifesting? Is it something that like you found in a book, or is it something that you always did and you just eventually found a title for it?
You know, that is exactly it. It's something that I started doing, but I didn't really know what it was for, or I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know there was a name for it. I didn't know other people did it. So I was always the type of person where I got these ideas in these goals, and I didn't know where they came from. And I grew up in church, so I always felt like, okay, this is God speaking to me, that I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do that. And often it would be things that were out of character kind of for me, where like I was a shy person. I was always a quiet person.
I wouldn't have thought that.
I'm like, usually when I'm in a new group or new setting, I'm in observation mode. So I'm like just like quiet to myself. I'm not bored or disengaged. I'm just observing what's going on.
Yeah.
So for me to go into journalism was a big leap for me personality-wise, because I'm not the type of person to be in the center of a room or to go up to strangers. So I had to really come out of my comfort zone for it. I felt like, okay, I feel like this is calling me to do something bigger, and I didn't know what it was for. I didn't know like how I was going to do it and how it would actually show up in my life. But I remember senior year of college, and this is a hard time because as a young person, you're about to go out into the world. You don't really know what's going to happen. Everyone's stressed out about what's happening next. And it's the first time in your life where you actually have to decide what's happening next.
Exactly. And no one's like there to like show you or tell you, like after high school you go to college, but after college it's like, you know, you get a job, but it's like, where, how do I move, do I stay? So you're right, I feel that.
Any other point in your life, you know what comes next. After 5th grade is 6th grade, after 10th grade is 11th grade. So everyone was applying to jobs and I wasn't, and I felt like, okay, well, what am I doing with my life? I had started Her Agenda sophomore year of college, and it still was not a business in terms of it wasn't generating revenue. I was really still in startup mode, still trying to figure out what it was going to be, how I was going to survive and make money from it, because I always felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. So I was applying to grants. I was applying to accelerators and incubators. No one knew what that was at the time, because now it's more commonplace. If you're an entrepreneur, you've heard of accelerators, investors, all of that. But this is in 2011, and really the path forward was to get a job and work in corporate America. And I had past internship experience at corporate companies, so a lot of my family assumed I would go into corporate America. So I literally remember, this is how I'm getting back to how I discovered manifesting. So I remember I was just so distraught. And this is the same year that Oprah launched the OWN network. And I remember when I discovered this series called Masterclass. And it is a series where she is interviewing people. Well, she's not interviewing people, but the people are talking about their life story and how they came to find out who they were. And I learned a lot about just the power of visualization and manifesting and going for things that seem impossible, but because it is your purpose, it comes to fruition in some way. So I started with that. And then something led me down a path where I discovered Iyanla. And
Iyanla.
I then discovered this book, this documentary called The Secret, which again, this is something where if you are an intellectual, it's sort of like looked down upon, like this is not you know, academic intellectual. If that's your favorite book, then you're not well read. You know, that's the connotation around it.
What are you trying to play that book?
I was 22 years old or 21 years old, trying to figure out my life, and I came across a thing called The Secret, and I'm like, oh, is this how successful people do it? And from then, I literally told my friends, like, we have to go to Walmart. I have to make a vision board.
Vision board, and Walmart.
Oh my gosh.
So that's like me. I would go to the little magazine section. I'd go and get my little poster board, and mine would have to be fly, so I'd have to get like 70 Sharpie colors, all in 70 different colors, completely missing the point. Like, girl, just put something on the page. Like, you just want to envision. Like,
I'm at the time going to school in Indiana. So I'm like this girl from New York going to school in Indiana. I'm telling my friends, like, we need to make vision boards. I practically bullied them into this. They will tell this story to this day that I was about to throw a fit in Walmart because they wouldn't do the vision boards with me, because they were, if they tell this story, they said that I told them, well, we'll see where you are in 5 years.
Like, dang, okay. I'll get this vision board. Okay. Girl, you have to do what you got to do. But you know what? Shout out to friends like you, because you could have just did the vision board by yourself. But you was
That's
like,
true.
no, let me bring my girls with me. Let me bring my
Yeah.
guys with me. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I always have that mindset of lifting as I climb, and always, if I discover something, if I find something, I want to share it with others. That's literally what fuels me, sharing opportunities, bringing other people to the table in the room. I never want to be the only one, the only woman, the only Black person. That's just not what I'm about.
Yeah, it took me I always felt like, personally for me, I was kind of like that, but it took me getting into corporate America to realize like how much I really had to be like that, if that makes sense. Like being the only Black person in the room, or being the only woman of color in the room. I was consistently the only woman of color, only person of color a lot of the times in the room at 3 of my corporate jobs, consistently. And that was all within the entertainment industry. So it's funny because most of entertainment forward facing are people of color, but behind the scenes, it's just a lot of like middle-aged white men, which are all great people, but you get my drift, girl. But yes. Okay. So you already touched on The Secret, which is funny because I feel like most people start there. If you guys haven't read The Secret yet, I say just go and buy it. Get the audiobook. There's actually, if you guys have Netflix,
the documentary first, and then
I'm lying. I saw the documentary first and then I read the book, just like you did. But literally the book is like word for word the script of the documentary. So you can just do like either or, y'all. But the documentary is called The Secret. It's on Netflix. It literally is like less than an hour long.
Hold on a second. My dog is barking to get into here.
Okay. Yes, little cutie. But yes, like I was saying, y'all, The Secret, while she's coming back, it's on Netflix. Get it, watch it. You already got Netflix. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But it's a great starting point because a lot of people, like The Secret, basically, it just lays the foundation of what manifesting and visualizing is. But that's not where, like, a lot of people had a problem with it because they did it and it didn't work for them. But it's a great place to start to teach you what is this, what is that, how does this work, how does that work, and then it's something that you can definitely build on with other resources. But I love that you brought up The Secret, and I love that you
overnight. And then the other book that I read that then really solidified this whole manifesting thing for me was The Celestine Prophecy.
Ooh, how have I not read that book?
Have you not read this? Oh my goodness.
I'm a little concerned. And also, can you spell
The Celestine Prophecy?
Okay. I'm like,
so CELESTINE.
Boom, I spelled it right. Boom. Okay. Yeah, somebody write that in the comments for anyone else who's looking for it, and I'll share it. So it's like, wait, what exactly? It's called The Celestine Prophecy. CELESTINE, y'all. I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I gotta add that to my collection. Maybe it's one of those things that like I've seen around. You know how you see a book so often that you know the cover? So I'm like, okay, maybe let me look it up.
Jessie wrote the name in the comments. She got it.
Okay, boom. Yes, Jessie. Come on, Jessie, make stuff. Appreciate you, girl. Consistent. Rock with you, Jessie. But yes, I also love that you brought up Ayanla. Y'all, if you have not and Masterclass, similar to you, when I got into OWN, it was Masterclass and it was Oprah's like Soulful Sundays. Both of those liberated me in such a way. I just sat, when I found OWN for the first time, I just sat and watched OWN for days. Literally. And just got my life the entire time. And I was like, wow, I feel so full. This is great. Life is great. And then Ayanla would come on and snatch my wig. And then doesn't Greenleaf come on OWN too?
It does.
And then Greenleaf comes on. Yes, and then snatches my wig. Yes. I just got into Greenleaf, so let me not be a poser, but I just got into Greenleaf. And girl, I am here for it. I just got done with season 3. I told myself I would always watch it before the last season, and then I blinked and it was the last season. So here we are, but I digress.
It is so messy, but honestly, it is very accurate. I am a former PK. So
I didn't know you were a
PK. I've seen a lot of that drama.
Yes, PK. Guys, a PK is a preacher's kid. I'm like, I didn't know you were a PK. Come on, Nisha.
Yes.
Yes. So of course you know all the things about the Black church, and so did I, which is so funny because almost everyone I talk to that's a Black woman that's into manifesting all are also very rooted in spirituality and the church and grew up in the church. So I feel like for anyone who believes in God, it's not that big of a jump to manifesting, or at least to me, because
Yeah.
like, you know, manifesting talks about the universe and everything like that. So for me, I just look at the universe as God. So
Exactly.
it's just like so parallel. I just look at them working together. And I mean, the universe is a thing, but I just, not to get too technical or religious up here, but I feel like God is just in charge of the universe, but technically is the universe. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And prayer is saying out loud what your desires are, what you
Exactly.
what you want to bring into your life, and so that is also a form of manifesting it.
Exactly. Constant manifesting. So you talked about vision boarding already. I'm curious, like, what other techniques that you use to manifest? Do you like journal? Do you, I mean, scripting is the same thing. Like, I know some people use like oracle cards when they manifest. It can just be so many different things. And by some people, I mean me. Y'all, the jig's up. It's
People
me.
under me. That's like on the meme when they're like sis, and they're like, this is me.
It's me, girl. I'm just me with my little oracle cards. Like, yes, God, I know this is boom. And then God's just like, yes, girl, boom, there it is. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but yeah, like, what works for you? Do you like say things out loud and it just happens? Do you write it down? Like, what do you find works best for you?
I'm not a saying things out loud person. I feel kind of silly when I do that. And I know it is, you know, something that's effective for a lot of people. But for me, I feel very silly saying stuff out loud, especially if I'm in a room by myself. I'm like, oh. So I'm definitely writing it down.
Yes, okay.
Person, I really believe that when you write it down, that's when you really make it real. That's putting it out in the world, and it's like going from a thought in your head to this word or sentence or phrase on a paper. That makes it real. It's in the real world at that point.
Exactly.
And then putting it someplace where you constantly can see it. So that's why, for me, my process with vision boarding is a little different, I guess, than typical, because what I'll do with my vision board is I'll take a picture of it and then put it as the screensaver on my phone.
I hear a lot of people do that. I love that idea.
Yeah. So I put it there because I'm not one to really hang it up necessarily, because sometimes it clashes with like the decor and like the aesthetic, because vision boards are very simple. It's
like
an
aesthetic, honey. I don't manifest or not.
It's like it looks like an art project that doesn't necessarily go with my modern like aesthetic. So I take a picture of it, I put it on my phone, and just make sure I can look at it. Every morning when I wake up, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for, or I will write down something that I'm manifesting that week or that month or that season.
So where did you find waking up and like writing down 3 things you're grateful for? I love that.
Again, I really look to other people's stories, people who I believe are successful, that have led a life that I want to live, or in the process of leaving a legacy that I would like to live, or making an impact like I want to make. I read them and follow them, and a lot of them say gratitude is the best way to invite more into your life. And so even when things are horrible and falling apart, just if you can find those moments of gratitude, it can bring more into your life. Just for me, getting real and personal. 2016 was a year like 2020 is right now for a lot of people. Like 2016, my parents were going through a really painful divorce. And at that time in my life, I chose the path of entrepreneurship. So like I said, 5 years since I have been running Her Agenda full time. So 2016 is just a year into that entrepreneurship. In order for me to be an entrepreneur, I was living at home. I'm from New York, and it's very expensive to be like out on your own. And so rather than, leave just for the sake of leaving, I just stayed home. I sucked it up, and I was just like, I'm going to save this money and work on my dream. So my parents were going through a divorce, and that meant like the house was about to be gone, and I was going to have to figure it out. And I was like, okay. Then at the same time, I got into a program that allowed me to move to Atlanta. So for a few months, so I was like, okay, good. I have a way to get out of this. Then when I was in Atlanta, some craziness happened to me, and like I had to leave because something like that put my life in danger, essentially. So I came back to New York, like with all this going on. I had to find a place to live, all that. But even in that, I still was holding on to my purpose and like writing down the things that I was grateful for and manifesting like what could get me out of this darkness, like what could help to elevate me to the next phase, to manifest my purpose. And also for me to, because at that point I've been working on her agenda since 2008. So I'm like, I've been putting in this work. All I really need is for people to know I exist. So my goal at the time was to really get onto like a major publication, like a list. So Forbes 30 Under 30 was something that I was really like set on. And I found out like December 2016, when all this craziness was happening, that I was a finalist. So I was like, oh, like if I get this could change my life, like seriously. So I actually didn't know, but then January came, January 2017. It was the first work day of the year, and my phone was blowing up. I had slept in that day too, because I like, you know, it's holidays. I'm like, we're still like easing into the work.
You're easing in the work week, girl.
And then I got notification from a tweet, like someone's like, "Oh, congrats! I saw you on Forbes 30 Under 30." I'm like,
what?
Literally found out from a tweet, because they don't tell you before it goes live.
That's what I
find
heard.
out when the world finds out. So then when the world finds out, they write to you, and I'm like, oh my God, all these tweets and messages. And then let me go and see if I actually got it, and then I did. And then from that, it was like a ripple effect, because it was that sort of credibility and visibility that I needed that intersected at once. That then allowed me to just do my work on a level that allowed me to thrive, and allowed, you know, our audience to find us if they hadn't already found us, and just really brought a lot of the resources that we needed in order to be a viable business.
Yes, come on, Nisha. 30 Under 30. Yes, what? That's a story, but you know, you said so many things I want to unpack. So you said gratitude is the best way to add more into your life. And then you also said I still was holding on to my purpose. So for anybody else out there who's going through a hard time, like I have definitely had those years. I don't think mine was 2016. I feel like maybe mine was like 2018 and like a little bit of last year, to be honest. Like those just low points where you're just kind of like, okay, I know this is what I want to do, but I'm in such a dark place that it's kind of hard to hold on to it. So while you were going through that, what were things that you did to keep your energy up, in addition to like writing down what you were grateful for, right? Like what were like some good energy shifters for you?
Really, it was just, a lot of it was in my community and my network, because they would remind me of who I was if I was forgetting, or if I was getting lost in all the distractions of the negativity. I think it also helped for me to, like, when my family was going through that situation, to get out of it and to not be physically in that space anymore. And I know that sometimes it's hard for people, but it was necessary, even though it was hard, because it was a way to reshift my emotional and physical energy so that I could be more focused. And then, because I was then by myself for the most part in a new city, I had to lean back on my community more, like where I would text a little bit more. I would call people a little bit more. If people wanted to meet up and they were in town, I would meet up with them. So all of those interactions really helped me, because my community does a really good job of pouring into me, simply because I set it up that way. So I think when you are someone who has really big goals, and it can be very scary, but you can't keep it to yourself. You have to be vocal as much as possible so that other people can help you. Most people do want to help you, but you have to show and tell them how. And I did that through from my youngest point of my career, my earliest point of my career. I created this mantra for myself, which really manifested into the motto for my company, but it was no one ever slows her agenda, which is a very strong statement to make as like a 16-year-old.
I love that. Yep.
Just getting started in media, no connections whatsoever, but I made it happen. And the mantra meant whatever your goal is, go for it. Don't let anyone or anything stop you.
I love
and so
that.
when I'm going through like low points and low moments, my community sort of reminds you, like, you are Nisha. Like, you can't let this stop you. You have to figure out another path forward. Like, this didn't happen, this fell through, or this is going on with you personally, but like, it's bigger than you. And you have this mindset that you set for yourself. So we have to like make sure that you live up to that.
That you stick to it. That you set those goals and you're consistent. And I love that you're talking about like your tribe of people that you build around you. Because similar to what you're saying, it's so nice to have that set of people behind you that can remind you of who you are when you forget. Basically, I'm just echoing what you were saying. It's so imperative because life has a way of, when you're going through your low moments, of making you doubt yourself and making you doubt that inner voice. And I feel like when it comes to being an entrepreneur or wanting to manifest something, the biggest thing is having faith. So when your intuition or when your energy is off a little bit, it's hard to even hear yourself really. And it's hard to trust yourself. And it's hard not to come from like a place of fear instead of faith, if that makes sense.
And I think a lot of people sometimes psych themselves out to think I need to be brave all the time, or I need to be confident all the time.
Talk about that.
Someone told me actually it's more about having courage. And I think that that's something more that we should focus on, is having courage versus being completely confident in every moment, every second. That really helps you to like move forward and take things one day at a time, one thing at a time.
I love that. Yes, one day at a time. And you know what's so funny? I feel like that's a message that I've been getting a lot too. And I've been seeing online, changing the narrative from being fear focused to being faith focused, and being about like having courage and being a little bit more braver instead of focusing on that constant confidence or that constant fear, because it's not real. You know what I mean? Like nobody, and I also hate, the older I got, the more I hated the term fearless. Because like, what does that even mean? Like, and I feel like that's such a thing that they tell girls to be. When did this start? I don't know. I remember I had shirts that said like, be fearless and stuff in my home that was like about eliminating fear. And I'm like, this is BS, because it's not true. And then when I realized that was when I started to walk more in my purpose, because I realized like, oh shoot, like all these other people feel fear too. They just feel it and they do it anyway.
Move forward in spite of the fear. And that's really the key. It's not about not having fear. It's about having that fear, feeling it, acknowledging that you have the fear, and then still doing what you have to do anyway.
Exactly.
And that's the difference between those who manifest and live their purpose and those who sit in regret and what if and I wish.
Because society makes us feel like you have to be fearless or you have to be confident all the time, or you look up to these celebrities and you're like, oh my God, like Oprah, she got no fears. Like all these big people, they don't have fears. Like she's a billionaire. But even you hear her in interviews and she's like, yeah, I was nervous. But then I thought like, I don't need courage for an hour. I just need courage for this 1 minute. Right. And then, I take it second by second. And I love that. It's so inspiring. I feel like there's like one video that I forgot where Will Smith was. I got to find it.
God. Will Smith has like the most.
So let me tell you guys, there are so many celebrities that are into manifesting, but that's like pausing, because that's another thing that got me into manifesting. Is I'm a huge believer in, if all these successful people are doing it, it has to be some truth to it. There are so many people who successful in the sense of like celebrities, right? But who are successful and manifest in little ways. Like Will Smith talks about manifesting one way or another all the time. If you guys have ever seen him in any interview ever, he might not call it manifesting, but you know, that's exactly what he's talking about. Drew Carey, like, did you hear that story about how he said he wrote himself a $10 million check when he was homeless and put it in his wallet and put a date on it for like a year in the future?
I
And
read some type of story about that. And actually, I tried that. It has not worked for me yet, but we're going to come back around on
we're
this.
We're going to come back to that
Instagram Live
okay.
when it happens.
Yep.
We're going to talk about that.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Yes. Yeah. But like he wrote a $10 million check, and then a year later he said he got signed on for Dumber and Dumber, and the signing bonus was $10 million. So granted, it doesn't happen like that for everyone, but it's so many people. Celebrities are not, who have stories of being intentional about what they want to bring into their lives and it playing out, you know. And not everyone wants to be a celebrity, right? Some person's manifestation might just be having their own business. It might be like a bakery or something like that, but that can be your truth. And I wanted to start Soul Sister Network in the spirit of, you know, when I first got into manifesting, it, you know, was like a white person's game to try to, you know, put it lightly, because you know, this is definitely a place for women of color, but you know, we definitely have people of all races and stuff on the platform, but it definitely is dominated by non-people of color, and it's dominated by non-people of color who are women. So when I would look for people who look like me who were manifesting, it was really hard for me to find any resources of people I felt like I can relate to. So you know how that goes. It's like representation in any sense, right? If the person you're looking at is like a bunch of white men and I'm a black woman, subconsciously I'm going to think, well, maybe that's not for me, maybe that's for him. But I wanted to start this because there are so many women who I feel like now are successful but manifest in their own right, and give everyone a space to talk about it. Because like, I mean, if you don't talk about it, you'll never know. But like, all these people out here are successful, like Nisha, and she's doing her thing. And mommy manifests every day. She wakes up and talks about gratitude every day, which I love. If you guys don't know, gratitude is, they say, it's like the highest frequency that you can have. And they say that it's like a really quick thing for people who manifest, because when you think about like everything you're grateful for, it brings your vibration up, in turn bringing your manifestations to you more. So I'm just yes. Come on.
That was just a master class on
come on.
And gratitude.
Hey y'all, what's up? No, but for real. And I have I forgot, low-key, high-key, I feel like that was in The Secret, or if it wasn't The Secret, it was in like some manifestation book. Low-key, I should probably know that before I quote it on here, but I'll figure it out and I'll share it with y'all later. But it was kind of like, just come up with like some energy shifters, like when you're in a bad mood, like a list of like 10 circumstances or things in your life that you're grateful for. And for me, it was easy for me to think about experiences I had versus like things, because sometimes like, it's like, granted, you have things to be thankful for, but you know, eventually if things, not everything is going bad, but if things are not going so smooth, then that list ends up being like, I'm grateful for water, I'm grateful for air, like, because I'm, you know, when you're going through it, it's like, damn, like, I mean, yeah, I'll find stuff to be grateful for, but you know, it just ends up being repetitive when things aren't going your way. So for me, it was easier for me to be like, I'm thankful I graduated. I'm thankful for like my friend's birthday party that I had a good time at. And it was easier for me to bring things into fruition when I did that. Yeah.
And sure. I will say, when I'm manifesting, it is the universe, and it also is God, but I also am very connected to the fact that I come from people that have been through so many trials and tribulations. And for me to even be where I am, even if I'm struggling, it is a divine reason that my people survived and that I'm here and I'm able to do whatever it is I choose to do with my life. So even going, like, thinking about the ancestors, is the ancestors are like definitely who I have in mind when I'm manifesting, because you know, there's that phrase, but it's so true, that I am my ancestors' wildest dreams.
I love that.
For my ancestors to see, you know, where we are today,
I'm sure they're probably like, girl, live your best life. Yes, I'm here supporting you.
Yes. Of ancestors, I was actually able to go back to the continent last year.
What? Stop!
I went to Ghana, and this shirt actually I got made in Ghana.
Yes.
And that is something that I manifested. because I knew from when I was little, because I grew up in a church, like I told you,
Yep.
and it was a very Black church, but very
Mm-hmm.
Afrocentric, where they taught us from young about the fact that we didn't start as slaves. We started as kings and queens in Africa, that we were stolen. Like, I never referred to my ancestors as slaves. I always said they were enslaved. Like, I knew all this from when I was 6.
So you were
I knew who Nat
woke.
Turner
Come
was.
on, woke. Yes.
I knew who Emmett Till was. I knew what the Willie Lynch letter was. Like, I knew all of that.
Girl.
So I've always wanted to go back to Africa. And I always felt like, okay, I want to go back. And I also want to know where my people come from. But one, I don't want to have to pay for it, because the fact that my people were stolen, and then you want me to pay to find out where I was stolen from, like, the government or someone else needs to pay for that situation to happen. And then they make it so expensive to go to Africa, from the flight to all the vaccines you need to get and everything.
Exactly.
And I literally woke up one day, this was like literally a year ago, it was in June last year, and my friend texted me like, hey, do you want to go to Ghana? I was like, yes. And they were like,
you paying?
There's a fresh trip going on, and she told me about this initiative, and then I spoke to the founder of the initiative. She's basically working to open the first youth center in Ghana. Like, there's no youth center.
Really?
So I went with her and her family and her team to go and cover it, and like the process of them doing it. So I was able to go to Ghana on a press trip, and I was there for 3 weeks, and all of that was manifested from like just from me talking about it over the years. Like, I want to go back to Africa. I don't remember. I didn't even specifically write this down anywhere. It was just something that was like on my heart for years, and like, I would openly share it with people when we got into like debates about who we are as a people and just identity. And I had been to Israel like 3 times, and I was really inspired by that, because you know, Jewish people are so connected to their history. And I was like, Black people don't have this.
We don't.
Black people have their identity, it would help us so much with having community within ourselves, and how we could invest into each other more, and just all of this. I was always talking about that. So then this manifested, and I went to Ghana, and it was beautiful. I'm going back again this year.
Yes, sis. What was it like? You said you were there for 3 weeks. Like, did you have any, like, I feel like people say when they go back to like Israel or like Ghana, they kind of, or like, well, Africa in general, they have kind of like a nice spiritual awakening moment, or like an internal reckoning, if that makes sense. Did you feel that when you got there?
I didn't feel it when I got there. I did feel happy, because it was like a moment was happening that I always wanted to happen. And my mom, I was like sharing with her everything, because she loves Africa. Like, she has so much African art in her house.
Yes, Mom.
And so I was just documenting everything. And it wasn't until I went to the coast, the Cape Coast, where the castles were, where they carried people through and put them on the ships, is when I had that moment of like, I felt my ancestors, because I went to a cafe near there, and I went to the beach, and when I was near the water is where I felt it. Not even in the castles themselves, it was just by the water. And I've always felt that connection with the ancestors and the ocean, because I know so many of our ancestors who didn't make it to America, like jumped into the water because they didn't want to, you know, they didn't know what lied on the other side, and they didn't want to find out. So with being by the ocean is when I felt the ancestors, and it was so powerful. I cried, and
I bet. Something about it is making me want to like cry now. Jesus.
So that was the moment. And so a lot of people feel like instantly when you get to the motherland, you're gonna feel like this whole different spiritual energy, but it takes time. Like, you have your moment when you have your moment. And what really was established for me was just a new tradition. Every December I'll be going to Ghana. So.
I love that. Come on. And it all comes back to manifesting. First off, how's it 8:45? That's first. I'm like, what? I feel like we were just getting into it. Okay. We still have 15 minutes, so we're good. But in the interest of time, like what's like one other thing that you feel like you manifested, and when you did that, you were like, damn, I'm that bitch. Wow, I did that.
I really felt like that with Forbes, but
Yeah, I bet.
let's see.
I mean, that could be the one. I mean, if that's going to be the one, that's a good one. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
for anyone who missed it in the beginning, Rhonesha is Forbes 30 Under 30 for 2017, right?
Yes, 2017.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, sis. So that's one hell of a thing to manifest.
Yeah.
Huh? Yes.
I feel like also we talked a lot about purpose and career.
Yeah.
But I also manifested my relationship. I've
Yes.
been in a relationship for 3 years. It'll be 4 years this year.
Yes.
And I didn't necessarily have like a list of like traits and all that. I just literally put on my vision board love and romance.
Yes.
And so through that, I like opened myself up. Like I was on every dating app. I was doing all the things, but I actually ended up being with someone that I knew already. That just kind of came to me in a different way. He kind of re-emerged into my life and was very clear and like purposeful with what he wanted and what his intention was for us, which was very different for me because at the time I was used to dealing with, can I curse on this?
Yes, girl, as much as I can.
At the time, I was used to dealing with like fuckboys that were very wishy-washy and like stringing people along.
Yep.
And he was just very short, and he was actually sort of everything I said I didn't want. Like the industry he worked in was an industry I said I would never date someone in that industry, and like all these other things. But when he was so sure and like literally said like what he wanted, I was like, what can I lose? Let me
let me try
and got to know him and just fell in love. So
yes, we love to hear it. Black love. Girl, and I'm with you. I mean, anybody who watches these know that I'm pretty sure I bring up my relationship every episode. One, because I love them, but two, because it's similar to what you said. It's something that I like actively manifested, but it's very different than yours because I was in a really long relationship, y'all, and then after that, I was like, oh my God, I'm never dating a man again. Fuck this shit. And I was single for a long time. So I was single for like 3 or 4 years. And it was around the 4th year where I was like, you know what? Let me actually write out what I want. And I was like, I want this, I want that, I want this. But I was intentional with what I was writing, you know? And when I met him, similar, like he didn't have everything on the list, but I OD'd, y'all. I think I wrote like 40 things up there, but he had like 38. And I was like,
wow.
Damn, okay.
That's major.
Yeah, and then he had so many things that were on the list that were great, but actively manifesting a relationship it feels so good, right? Because the part about manifesting, whether you write it down or not, it's like opening yourself up to believing that you're worth what you think that you're worth, whether that be in a relationship or not. So I feel like that was my favorite part about manifesting a relationship. I had to heal myself a little bit and remind myself that like fairy tale romance or what I really wanted in a man, I could get it and not have to compromise. Yep. And it sounds like that happened for you too.
Yes.
We love to hear it. Black love. Yes, black love. I love it. Wow. Okay. I'm curious. For you, what's one thing that you feel like is like a misconception about manifesting? Are people like a misconception. Or people don't get like the full story, if that makes sense, before they start.
I think the misconception is just that it's instant, that it would happen. You know, if I start manifesting today, it's going to happen next month or next year. It literally takes time for it to manifest. But what happens is if you really truly believe and you're consistent, you'll start to see little signs that will then help you to keep pushing and keep moving forward until the big picture comes to reality.
What did those signs look like for you? Those little signs along the way?
It would be something as simple as a tweet from a reader that said, I read this article you wrote and then I did X, Y, and Z, and now I have a job here.
Yes.
Or, you know, it could be even just like a journalist reaching out to me to tell my story on a platform that like I never got to tell my story before. Just it manifests in like these different little opportunities that come my way for things that I wasn't even going for, things I wasn't even thinking about.
I love that.
So, or when people continue to, you know, bring up my name in rooms that I never thought that they would bring it up in. Like there was one time when I was working as an editor for the Huffington Post and still running Her Agenda as like a side hustle, and I was sort of at the brink of like, do I want to do this full time or not? And my friend texted me and was like, oh my gosh, I heard you on the radio. Congrats. And I'm like, heard me on the radio? What are you talking about? I have not been to any radio station.
What?
And then I got another text, and I kept getting these messages. So I'm like, all right, let me figure out what is going on here. So I ended up asking one of the friends, like, do you know exactly what time it was when you heard this? And they told me the time. So I called Hot 97 because I'm that person that will just call up companies. I don't care.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, you guys are running something that I think has my name in it. So I'm curious to see what it is. And can I get an air check for this time? It's called getting an air check, where you just like call the station and they will see the recording of a certain time frame. So it ended up being this whole campaign called Making Black History Behind the Scenes with Ava DuVernay and all of these big names where they were like basically reading their bios. They're like, you know, Ava DuVernay is a director, blah, blah, blah. And I was included in this group of people. Like they were reading my name in my bio.
Come on, God. And you had no idea. You're like, what is happening?
Idea.
And meanwhile, you on the radio getting quoted with Ava? Are you?
No idea. So it ended up being someone I met years ago. On a story, and we kept in touch through Twitter, so we didn't really even speak that often, but like I'm the type of person that, like I said, if you want people to help you, you need to show and tell them how, and you do that. You share even on social media. So I was always active and vocal about what I was working towards through my social media and sharing my progress. But I guess when the meeting came up and they were like, who should we include in this campaign? He said I was the first name that came to mind. And I was like, what? He didn't even tell me it was him. I literally just went on my Twitter and I was like, who do I know or follow or who follows me that works at Hot 97? Saw him come up and DM'd him. And I was like, hey, did you put my name in for this? And he was like, yeah.
Look at. Let me tell you something about God, honey. When Jesus says yes, nobody can say no. Y'all write that one down, okay? Because I live for it.
So things like that will happen along the way. Like, I never put myself up for it, never thought about it, and then it'll happen, and it will, to me, be a sign like, okay, you're doing the right thing. Keep moving.
Exactly. A sign that you're moving in your purpose. Because that's what I found. Like, anytime things were a little too hard, I just knew it wasn't aligned with me and where I wanted to go. But anytime things just kind of started panning themselves out and it felt really easy, I was like, oh, like, it seems like God is behind this, because if not, it's like strangely easy. It's too easy, you know? And for whatever reason, sometimes I think we have in our mind that life has to be hard, but it's not, sis. Like, it does not have to be hard. It can really be really easy. And a lot of the opportunities I've gotten with Soul Sister Network so far have been things that I felt like the universe or God was just like, here you go. And I was like, okay, sure. I'll take it. Yes. And it sounds like you know all about that, boo. I have one last question, because you brought up sharing openly with people about what you're trying to manifest, I guess you could say, in a way. Do you use discernment when you do that at all? Like, I feel like people have asked me that question a couple of times on the channel. Like, do you have a problem sharing too much just because you never know people's intentions, right? Or are you just open to sharing whatever because you're not trying to close any doors? You want everything to come your way.
That is a good question. And to be honest, it depends on the day.
Okay.
Some days I really am certain and sure that, you know, no matter who knows about what I'm manifesting, like, it will happen because it's for me. You know, I believe that what we are put here for on this earth was decided before we even came to this earth.
Me too.
Even if I told someone, like, if I had an idea for something they wouldn't do it in the way that I would do it.
Yep, exactly.
So I don't really believe that there's a possibility of like having ideas stolen in that sense.
That's deep.
But
I
I
love
will
that.
say I found myself as I've gotten older to be a little bit more hesitant in sharing, because I now have that knowledge that, you know, you need to have that IP, you need to get the trademark, you need to have certain things locked down before you start to talk about it. Yep. Whereas before, when I was starting my journey, I was just like, blah, 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 I'm doing this and that, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to partner with this person. Like, I was going off. And reflecting, and, like, as I'm trying to get to a point where I'm, like, understanding, like, okay, what is holding me back from sharing as much as I used to do? I'm thinking about, like, you know, back in that time, it really helped. It really did work in terms of I was able to meet a lot of goals because of the accountability, because of my network being aware of what I was working on, so they could send me opportunities. And I feel like now I am not as open, and that's something that I just need to work on, that I'm like aware of now. So the awareness is the first step, and now I'm working on, you know, making sure that I don't let whatever's blocking me from sharing block me. Or just be faster in the IP and everything locked down, so then I can be more open.
Exactly.
I don't know which one it is. I don't have all the answers. I'm not the expert. You know, I'm still going through my journey.
Yeah.
But it's something.
But you're a master, girl.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Can you hear the firecrackers going on?
Girl, I was about to say, girl. Okay, I'm sick of it. They've been popping firecrackers. Honey, I'm here for Juneteenth. I really am. They have been popping firecrackers every day in my neighborhood since Juneteenth, and I'm like, y'all, we haven't even hit July 4th yet. Like, just give me a moment. Like, okay. But Nisha, it's already 8:56.
Oh my
Thank you. I know. Thank you so much for joining me. Before we leave, I want you to give you some minutes to plug everything you need to plug, do what you need to do, put out some manifestations to us, see if we got any ties to what you're trying to do, whatever you want to do, mama.
I wish we had time to get to the comments.
I know. A lot of people were just saying, like, you know, this is real. This is happening.
Someone wanted me to share my vision board. But
yes. Do you have it?
It's like, hold on. Let's see.
Boom. If that's the last thing we do, I'm here for it all.
Okay.
I was going to say, I know it's not on the wall because it doesn't go with the decor. It's kind of like,
because this has been for a while, because this hasn't fully manifested yet, so I still have it. So, like, see, this is like money and power list. Essence is on here, and I ended up getting into Essence magazine a couple years ago. You see, I have on here where love is in the middle right here.
Yes, come on, love.
Run the world, starting deals. Her agenda is on here.
Yes.
Healthy and happy down here.
Yes. Did you put anything about traveling up there since you went to Dallas? I'm curious.
You see, it says your first class ticket here.
Boo. Okay. Yes.
So yeah, that just gives you a little idea. Milestones.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that.
Here. The word travel actually is here.
Come on, look at that, honey. So, what? Yeah. Yes, Nisha. Alignment, girl. I appreciate you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for sharing your vision board too. I'm not gonna lie, I got lazy at the top of this year, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a vision board, and I cut out all the stuff, girl. I still have all the stuff cut out in a folder, and I just like never put it on a vision board because when I was like, where am I even gonna put this at? I don't want to put it on my wall. It doesn't go with the decor.
No, I actually haven't done one in like 4 years. This is still from like 4 years.
But you know what?
But I manifest in different ways now.
Yep.
And I think when I'm at a point where I'm literally trying to do a major shift is when I'll do a new vision board.
Yep. Yes, I'm here for it all, baby girl. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I could do this all night. I can't believe an hour went by. You guys rock with us the entire time. Consistent. All the comments and captions, and the hearts were going crazy, sis. So clearly everyone was feeling it. I know I was. You're a real one. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'm saving this on my page, so if you guys ever want to come back and reference, follow Soul Sister Network. You know, you have it there as a resource. I also have a YouTube page up, so if you want to watch it on YouTube instead of Soul Sister Network, you could do that too. Y'all do what you got to do. But yes,
and y'all check out heragenda.com.
please
Sign up for our mailing list. I want to get your direct contact. I would say follow us on social media. You could do that too, but I'm all about like having ownership over my audience versus renting my audience, which is something that I learned from one of my friends. And it's like, we want people to follow us, but you don't own that. You don't own Instagram, you don't own Twitter. So please sign up for our mailing list. We don't send you, but every Monday we send out an email with like the highlights of the week and just the different features we have. Every Monday we feature a different woman in position of power and tell her story. So this week we have Pamela.
Wait, babe, I'm sorry.
Alexander.
We're about to go. My bad. My God. Bye.